Walk into a Century when you're hungry.
Unless it's free sample day. Ooh, oh, pizza, yes. I'd love to try that one.
My husband thinks he can make a meal out of grocery store samples.
Need to wash this down. I think I see someone handing out samples in the liquor department.
Geez, can we focus on our list?
What's this?
It says you can win 2 tickets to Green Bay's home game against San Francisco November 24th.
Or autographed footballs, or a 4-pack of Green Bay Hall of Fame tickets.
You have to enter through Century's Facebook or Instagram.
I'll be entering this on my phone in the deli next to that cheese sample station.
I'm shopping at Century alone next time.
Enter by November 6th.
WTMJ's Home Improvement Showcase, sponsored by Siding Unlimited. Ask about their honest pricing guarantee.
Let's see who the Brewers are playing today. It's the Mets.
3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Vientos K. Nimmo K. Alonso K.
Our coverage of Game 1 of the Wild Card Series starts today at 3:55. Brew October is sponsored by Delta Dental on your home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
At 9:02, it's 60 degrees, 67, breezy, partly cloudy today. Clouds and chilly tonight, could drop below 40 away from the lake. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts. It is a very busy day in the race for president, including right here in our own decision, Wisconsin. Former President Donald Trump is back in the state today. He'll speak at Dane Manufacturing in Waunakee and then head over to Milwaukee for a speech at Discovery World. Former president will be joined in Milwaukee at a separate event, mind you, by Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff, who's expected to speak at 4 at an unknown location. That all leads up to tonight's first and potentially only vice presidential debate on CBS, pitting Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio against Minnesota Governor Tim Walz in New York. The security guard who accidentally shot himself at a Wisconsin Lutheran high school football game last week will face charges. Police say the 63-year-old guard was off duty at the time, but is facing charges of carrying a concealed weapon and endangering safety by use of that dangerous weapon. Now, details of exactly what happened at the Wisconsin Lutheran football game Friday night are still unknown, though a spokesperson for the school tells TMJ4 News the guard did not have permission from the school to bring the weapon onto grounds and was not affiliated with the school. Hurricane Helene is now being blamed for more than 130 deaths across 6 states in the southeast U.S. as rescue crews in western North Carolina continue to struggle, clear damaged roads, and help people in some of the hardest-hit communities. CBS's Skylar Henry is in one of those communities, Asheville, North Carolina, which has been left in utter devastation.
Food, water, and other essential supplies arrived in Swannanoa, North Carolina by air Monday afternoon after Hurricane Helene left hundreds of streets and highways in the region impassable.
My daughter is down in Marion, and she's safe and stuff, but she can't get up the mountain.
The state's Department of Transportation says all roads in the western part of North Carolina should be considered closed to non-emergency travel.
FEMA will provide 20 truckloads of food and 40 truckloads of water to North Carolina every day of recovery efforts. President Biden is expected to tour the region by air this week. And nearly 50,000 dock workers across the country are now on strike. The massive walkout likely to shut down at least 3 dozen ports as far north as Boston, all the way down to the Florida coast. News Nation's Alina Shirazi.
All the ports impacted. A lot of reach here as far north as Boston, all the way down to the East Coast in Florida, across the South to Alabama, New Orleans, and Houston, Texas. The U.S. depends on these ports for machinery, fabricated steel, precision instruments, and so much more. We know port workers driving home the point here today who I spoke with, they need more money and job security.
The strike could lead to higher prices for consumers as well as longer delivery times. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Perhaps in response to the port strikes beginning today, lots of red for the majors out of the gate. The Dow down 224 points at 42,106. The Nasdaq off 210 to 17,979, and the S&P 500 is down 46 points this morning at 5,716. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Brew October begins, and the Mets are first up to bat. We'll have that plus the roads and your 5-day forecast up next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 9:05.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Hi everyone, Jeff Levering here, and when we moved into our home 10 years ago, we knew the time would come to replace our roof. That came sooner than we thought with the storms during the spring. So we called the pros at Ridgetop Exteriors, and they did more than just live up to their motto, trusted, local, and affordable. Within just a few weeks, we had our new roof picked and completed. Their team treated us just like family, and the customer service was a real home run. Give Ridgetop Exteriors a call and book your appointment today to ensure your project gets completed before the next big storm.
There's no better place to catch the natural wonders of fall than Lake Geneva. Stroll a lakeshore path in a kaleidoscope of color. Explore winding rustic roads. Take a scenic boat tour or glide through a forest on a zip line. At night, stargaze from a historic observatory, cozy up to a campfire, or have a cocktail on the patio. Enjoy the seasonal bounty at orchards, wineries, and farms with flavors to savor. Plan your fall getaway now at visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva. It's always been the place for fall fun.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. It's the start of the MLB playoffs today, and at American Family Field, it will be the Brewers hosting the Mets fresh off their split in a doubleheader yesterday against Atlanta. Freddie Peralta takes the mound tonight for the Crew. He'll face Luis Severino for New York. The roof, we have been told, will be closed for game time this evening. Our coverage starts at 3:55 today on WTMJ. And MLB's all-time hit leader, Pete Rose, has died at the age of 88. Let's check the roads. Your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. No major incidents right now. We do have one slow spot. That's going to be 94 East from about 76th Street through the stadium to 35th. Running you just a couple extra minutes behind on your ride from the zoo to the Marquette.
Traffic is sponsored by Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee Mattress, where top quality mattresses are priced hundreds less than premium national mattress brands. Found exclusively at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast for today, partly cloudy. You'll feel the breeze and you'll feel the cooler temperatures as well. A high of 67 today. Really chilly tonight. 47 near the lake. Could be below 40 away from it, down to 38 for the low. Sunny 72 on Wednesday. More of the same Thursday, mid-70s and sun. Our next slight rain chance arrives Friday morning, then partly cloudy and 68. And Saturday looks sunny with a high of 72 degrees. Right now in Madison, sunny skies and 55. In Green Bay, sun and 56. Waukesha, mostly sunny, 56 as well. And here in Milwaukee, we've got mostly sunny skies and 58 degrees. I'm Adam Roberts, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 909.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
Good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ. That means James Wigerson, conservative writer. You can find his great work, Life Under Construction, his twice-weekly newsletter. And James, we are talking today about tonight's vice presidential debate. We may not have a Aaron Burr type scenario tonight, but what do you expect to see and hear tonight on CBS in the debates?
Well, CBS has made the decision that they are not going to have their moderators fact-check the two candidates as they go along. So what we're likely to see is a lot of interruptions. They're both going to have hot mics, which means that their microphones are going to remain on. They're not shut off unless CBS changes its mind later. And then they should be, you can expect a lot of interruptions and a lot of arguing between the two candidates over what the actual facts are of the situation. You're also going to see a real test of J.D. Vance's character as he deals with Tim Walz, and then you're going to see a test of Walz's patience, I think, during the debate, especially when J.D. Vance probably comes after Walz's military record.
Who's the stronger debater, you think? We don't know yet because it's going to happen tonight, but who do you think is going to be better on stage, better persona, better sort of presentation?
I think Walz has the advantage because he's been in politics longer. Vance has so far not been a strong presence on the national stage, and he's only been on the national stage a very short time. He was just elected not that long ago to be senator from Ohio. So while he does have some experience doing public speaking and promoting his book and things like that, that's a far cry from being in the political arena as long as Walz has been involved in politics. And Walz is a chief executive, I think, has the advantage.
So I've been beat up a lot for my stance on the lack of quality amongst our candidates for president, and I even make the same argument for vice president. I don't want either one of these people to be president at any point. Not that I dislike Tim Walz. I don't know enough about J.D. Vance to have an opinion other than he seems rather extreme for his young age of 39. But when I look at the quality of candidates and I look at these two vice presidents, I don't know that I'm going to get much of anything that really is going to shed any extra light on this race for me. What do you think?
Yeah, well, you probably won't, because the biggest thing that a vice presidential candidate has to do, they have to take the Hippocratic Oath of candidates, which is first do no harm. They're going to try their best not to harm their running mate. Voters tend to elect presidents, not vice presidents. Vice presidential debates don't generally have an impact. I was just reading a former Bush advisor said that the only way that the vice presidential debate has an impact on the race is when they screw up. Mm-hmm. And so that was why there wasn't a vice presidential debate in 1980, because George H.W. Bush didn't want to take the risk of screwing things up for his running mate. There's no real upside for the candidates in this debate other than if they can just get through it without making a huge, colossal error that reflects badly on the person that picked them. As it is, Dan Quayle, for example, in 1988, was not the best vice presidential candidate. There was a stunning moment when Lloyd Bentsen nailed him, and Dan Quayle still had no effect on that race, and George H.W. Bush won the 1988 presidential race handily.
Our moderators tonight, Nora O'Donnell and Margaret Brennan. You can see her work in the mornings on Sunday morning on CBS, and then, of course, Nora O'Donnell at night. Of the two, I think Margaret Brennan is a tougher journalist. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say I don't think O'Donnell is bad, but I just think that Brennan is probably better at asking more pointed questions. I think the incentive is going to be there for the two moderators to ask very pointed questions, especially of J.D. Vance, considering some of the controversial things he has said about women. So it'll be interesting to see how Vance reacts to that. Again, you're going to probably see what you saw after the presidential debate. Vance will probably come out of this debate saying that he was ganged up on three on one all night long. But, that's part of being in the arena.
Somebody said to me on the show last week on the text line that Vance is just a junior version of Donald Trump, half the age. And what do you make of that?
I think that Vance, in his own way, is actually a smarter version of Donald Trump. And he's figured out what he has to say and do to pander to his audience of one. His only audience really is Donald Trump. And so the difference that I see is that Vance is much younger, much more energetic, and much more willing to say and do things just to get himself ahead than even Donald Trump. I also think that Vance is a little bit more focused than Donald Trump. But other than that, he's like Oakland. There's no there, as Gertrude Stein said. There's no
baseball team there either, James. Now,
yeah, no baseball team there either. No football team, no baseball team, and no principles in J.D. Vance. There's nothing that you can actually pin him down and say he's being hypocritical about because he has no basic principles to start with.
I wonder if J.D. Vance thinks about the Mike Pence story in any great measure, because obviously, the story is that Pence didn't do what Donald Trump, his president, told him to do, or at least said he should do on social media. And then, you're the guy, you're the next up, and you're going to be, if he's lucky enough to be elected Donald Trump, you're going to be working for that individual. I wonder if that enters into his consciousness at all.
Well, he's looking ahead at being the successor, and he's already said that he was willing to do what Mike Pence wasn't willing to do, which was basically throw out the election results, send it to a commission, and watch the chaos unfold rather than have us put into office the lawfully elected president. So I actually do think that is going to come up at some point. I think Waltz is going to have to bring it up. I don't think, unfortunately, the moderators are going to do a good job of bringing it up, but Waltz can certainly say to him, this is what you said. You're willing to throw out the Constitution just because Donald Trump asks you to. Do you think that you should be a heartbeat away from the White House?
James Wiggerson, our guest on the Tuesday edition of Political Power Hour. After the break, if James was the moderator, James Wiggerson from Life Under Construction, what questions would he ask? That's up next on 620 WTMJ.
The Upswing is your place for commerce and community.
A lot of businesses have available space. Creating similar models, especially in the downtown area that invite everyone in, I think that's a winning scenario.
Hosted by Jeff Sherman.
It can't feel like a hotel lobby.
No.
I walk in and 95% of these spaces, I'm like, why am I leaving my house? Because this is cleaner?
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. I always love talking about Universal Windows Direct, and fall is here. Cooler today, cooler this morning. Perfect time to replace those old drafty windows before winter sets in as temperatures drop. You want to be stuck with those windows that make your heating system work overtime? Universal Windows Direct's exclusive super spacer technology, right? Keeps your home insulated, saves you money on your energy bills, and keeps you warm all season long. Plus, Universal Windows Direct backs up a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home. And get this, 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Now, that's a warranty. Call Universal Windows Direct today, 414-410-2000. I'll give you a chance to grab a pen. Quick, 414-410-2000. For every 2 windows you buy, 2 free, 4. You get it. Buy 20, get 20. There's no limits. Plus, if you need it, 0% financing.
Hi, I'm Lori from Sussex, and I'm a future resident of the Westerly. The pool was the big draw for me. I'm also looking forward to the camaraderie on the rooftop patio, and I might have to take up golf. Well, I have specific needs and looked at quite a few retirement communities, and nothing really checked off all the boxes until I learned about the Westerly. I'm confident now that I made the right decision.
If you're seeking Lake Country's finest, don't miss out on the Westerly, opening this spring. Visit livingwesterly.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you feel self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
It's pretty simple. We do what we say we're going to do because we fully understand that a reputation is never given. It's always earned.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Continue our conversation with writer James Wiggerson. Where can folks find your great work, James?
Well, they can find it at jameswiggerson.com. There's a little button there that tells you how to become a member if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, which comes out every Monday and Thursday.
Yeah, James, one of the best political writers in the state of Wisconsin. And it's not all about politics. He does some great travel stuff, personal stories. It's really a great, great read twice a week. So I encourage you to get his newsletter. All right, so I teased it before the break, James. If you were the moderator, James Wiggerson, first question, J.D. Vance or Tim Walz, what would it be?
So to Tim Waltz, I would ask him to try to explain what Kamala Harris' economic policy is.
Give him a tough one right away, James.
Well, you got to come out firing. Let's get it out there right away and have him defend the lack of detail and in the things that she said, and her idea of going after corporations over food prices and things like that. How is that going to work? We want to know. In the case of J.D. Vance, I'd ask him point blank, right off the bat. I'd say to him, explain to me. You're in the chair. Your candidate lost, and yet you have to say what the vote totals are on January 6th. Explain to us how you would have abandoned the Constitution just because Donald Trump asked you to.
And that's a great question, because that one might happen. We know that there's been a lot of noise out there in the states that we could see some crazy results, or at least some challenges, legal challenges. I mean, sort of looking forward 30-some days, James. And I'm working all night that night, so I'm going to imagine I'll be talking about a lot of these things. And we've already had inkling that these things may happen, these legal challenges related to or delay in posting results. How crazy do you think that night might be?
I think it could be very crazy depending on what happens in places like Pennsylvania. Remember, in Pennsylvania, they do not allow the counting of absentee ballots early. They do not even allow the processing of absentee ballots early. They allow the processing of absentee ballots early in Florida, Donald Trump's home state, but Republicans have made sure that that doesn't happen in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin. So you could see some chaos when they are starting to go through those absentee ballots after all the other ballots have gone through, especially if Donald Trump is ahead in Pennsylvania at the time when you know that the absentee ballots are going to go against them. Who knows what could happen at those counting centers in Philadelphia and in Harrisburg and in Pittsburgh.
So let's look at Wisconsin. It's a 50-50 state. We've had very close elections the last two go-arounds for president. I don't expect anything different this time. Any sense of where Wisconsin is going? It looks like the polls are tightening. Some of the recent, and depending on what poll you look at, I've seen big Harris margins and very narrow races. What do you think?
I think it's going to be close again in Wisconsin. I think that you're going to see a lot of campaigning here. The irony is Wisconsin may not even be the deciding state in all of this, but it could be. But you have both campaigns treating this state very seriously. Donald Trump coming tonight. You got more visits expected from both candidates between now and Election Day. It's definitely going to be very close. And there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on what happens in Milwaukee and what happens in Madison and what happens in Green Bay. You're going to see a lot of conspiracy theories come out.
I did a show poll this morning that I've been thinking about doing for a while, so I thought I'd take a shot with 30-plus days out. And basically the question is, what are the chances, and this is not scientific by any stretch of the imagination, but just listeners and fans of the show, what's the chances you would not vote for president on your ballot in the November election? And I'm just curious where that might fall, unscientific, admittedly. And I was surprised that I got 10% said they were still thinking about that possibility, and 6% said 100%, not voting for president on my ballot. That means I'll vote for Senate or any of the other races that impact their districts. It might be overstated, but I think that's certainly something to think about in this race, James.
Right. Those are the people that both campaigns have to appeal to. And the way that they're going to appeal to them, unfortunately, is they're going to try to scare them one way or the other, rather than make a positive appeal to them and try to get them to vote for one candidate or the other because of the positive attributes of what the candidate brings to the race. It's definitely going to be a nasty campaign down to the end. And the Trump campaign is going to try to scare everybody about the invading hordes of immigrants coming to your community near you, killing your cats and your children. And the Democrats are going to try to scare you that Donald Trump is crazy and is a threat to democracy, and that he's also going to undermine us abroad as well. It's just going to be a negative campaign to the end, and it's even going to invade your cell phones. I got another text today telling me who to vote for. And It's not going to even stop at Election Day. That's the sad part about it. When the election is that close, we're going to see possibly a recount. We're going to see court challenges, and it could drag out.
Maybe not hours, maybe days. We shall find out. 30-plus days away. Big vice presidential debate tonight. James and I will be watching. James, always great to talk to you.
Well, thanks for having me on, Steve.
This is the first part of a hour-long political power hour right here on 620 WTMJ.
The playoffs are here for your Milwaukee Brewers, and we're not done yet.
Two-run home run, William Contreras.
Willie Adames. Jackson Chourio.
The Brewers take on the Mets in the Wild Card Series. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage of Game 1 starts today at 3:55. The hunt for Brew October is sponsored by Delta Dental. The playoffs go through us on the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent snoring issues, tossing and turning. I had all of that. Kept my wife Kathy up all night. Probably woke myself up a lot more than I realized. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, but it's simply my nose wasn't working properly. I went to Advent. 30-minute visit. They answered all my questions, put me at ease. Now, everybody's different problems, different solutions. But for me, it was simple. Sinuses and nasal passages. After a short procedure in one of their great offices, back to breathing better than ever, and that's years ago now. My wife and I both sleeping through the whole night. If you struggle like we did, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
With the upcoming election, now is the perfect time to think about your financial future. Changes in policies and taxes can impact your retirement plans and cost you thousands. Hi, I'm Tony Drake at Drake & Associates. We can help you prepare for these changes and ensure you're on the right track for a secure retirement. Don't leave your financial well-being to chance. Text PREPARE to 414-441-5451 to schedule a complimentary consultation and get our free Retirement Ready Toolkit. That's PREPARE to 414-441-5451. Drake & Associates, plan smart, retire happy.
Drake & Associates is an independent investment advisory firm that offers different investment vehicles. All insurance products are backed by the issuing insurance company. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak & Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak & Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
All right, if you missed it, and you don't want to miss this one, I did a great webinar with Tom Parks from Annex Wealth Management, Director of Retirement Plan Services. We talked about 401k plans. Just got a nice thank you from Tom for the time we spent doing this. It is the all-encompassing look at 401k plans, why they're important for your financial future. Whether you're new to retirement planning or looking to refine your existing strategy, this webinar is tailored to empower you with the knowledge to take control of your financial future. It's called the Essentials of 401k Plans, and visit the Annex Wealth Management webinar page right there on WTMJ.com. You'll enjoy it. It's fun. We had some good times at it, as well as some great information. Just go to WTMJ.com to listen back. All right, so got the news coming up. After the break, an expanded edition. We want more. Kristen, apparently. More Steve is something we'll talk about as well. The all-important 2024 WTMJ listener survey, which I'm hearing good things. Now, I haven't seen any of the actual results, but I'm hearing good things from the people that have filled it out. So if you have filled it out, let me know that on the WTMJ Talk and Text line, 855-616-1620. Chris is going to join me. Lots to talk about today, including, will we see a shakeup in Wisconsin State Legislature? Maybe. And what does that mean for current Assembly Speaker Robin Vos? We'll start with that. And the laws were rewritten a while back in the state legislature, I should say, easy for me to say, about how you can raise money for campaigns. Well, did it work out the way the Republicans intended? So all that coming up next half hour. First, local news, but not before we get to any of that, the latest The latest, I say, from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The United States is preparing to defend Israel. ABC's Marcus Moore with the latest from Beirut.
U.S. officials as well as Israeli officials who are saying right now that Iran is preparing and is imminently going to launch missiles at Israel.
The move as the IDF begins ground operations in southern Lebanon. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge is in Tel Aviv.
I think the big question right now is whether or not in the longer term this limited ground incursion into southern Lebanon will turn into, with time, something more significant. Is Israel looking to create some kind of buffer zone in southern Lebanon to protect northern Israel? And we're seeing a heavy toll on the Lebanese side.
Hundreds of people killed, up to 1 million displaced, according to Lebanese officials. The dock workers' strike could affect consumers' bottom line if it stretches on a long time. About 45,000 union longshoremen are off the job. Job openings rose unexpectedly in August, according to the Labor Department. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited, WTMJ news time is 9:31. A very busy day for politics in Wisconsin. Former President Donald Trump back in the state today, speaking in Waunakee this afternoon before heading to Milwaukee for a speech at Discovery World at 5 p.m. this evening. Also in Milwaukee this evening, Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff speaking around 4 o'clock at an unknown location. Public hearings will soon be coming to Milwaukee and Racine on proposed We Energy rate hikes. The company is seeking an over 9% rate increase for residential customers next year, followed by an 8.5% increase in 2026. If approved by the Wisconsin Public Service Commission, the typical monthly residential bill would rise from $128 to $152. And the MLB playoffs begin today as the Brewers open their wild card series at American Family Field against the Mets. Freddie Peralta gets the start against Luis Severino. Our coverage begins at 3:55 on WTMJ. Hunt for Brew October coverage is sponsored by Delta Dental. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Oof. Lots of red right now, and down big are the Dow and the NASDAQ, as well as the S&P 500. The Dow off 358 points at 41,972. The NASDAQ down 371 at 17,817. And the S&P 500 is off 74 points at 5,688. Get an honest opinion of where you are financially and where you're headed. Work with a fee-only fiduciary. Start at annexwealth.com. Let's check the roads. Your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. That earlier slow spot on 94 East has since cleared up. It's a nice smooth ride right now from the Zoo through to the Marquette. Just one lone slow spot on 43 North, just north of Fond du Lac Avenue as you work your way around the bend towards north. It'll be just a couple taps on the brakes there. Everywhere else is looking good so far this morning. And your WTMJ forecast for today, we'll see partly cloudy, breezy, cool conditions, a high of 68. Chilly temperatures tonight, kind of a reason why they're closing the roof likely. We could be flirting with below 40-degree temperatures for lows, especially if you're away from the lake. Wednesday, sunny, pleasant, a high of 72, mostly sunny Thursday and 75. Slight chance for rain then early Friday, then mostly sunny, low 70s, 73 and sun on Saturday. Right now in Wausau, sunny skies and 53. Right now in Grafton, it's sunny and 58, and in Milwaukee, sunny skies and 59. I'm Adam Roberts, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Times, 9:34.
It's bird bashing season when you swoop into Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to a wicked 50 grand cash in the Bird Bash Game Show. Just play with your rewards card all October for entries. All Bird Bash entries go towards a December 20th giveaway with a monstrous 300 grand in prizes. Bird Bash makes its bewitching return. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Learn more at paysbig.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here. Are you in the market for a new roof, but overwhelmed at how to start the process? Well, here's a suggestion. Go with Tri-County Contracting. Installing roofs since the 70s, this family-owned company works for you. Stop by their showroom in New Berlin or go to TriCountyContractingWI.com. You don't want a process that takes forever. Tri-County Contracting makes it easy, from getting the estimate to getting that brand new roof. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
When Senator Tammy Baldwin first went to Washington, the big news story was Y2K. And we were partying like it was 1999. Baldwin has been in D.C. for more than 25 years. And after a quarter century, her values are a lot more Washington than Wisconsin. Baldwin supported providing puberty blockers and sex change surgeries to minor children in Wisconsin. And Baldwin supports forcing women's domestic violence shelters in Wisconsin to admit biological men who claim to identify as women, even though domestic violence survivors say it would be traumatic to be forced to sleep in the same shelters as men. Tammy Baldwin, 25 years in Washington has changed her, and now she's just too extreme for Wisconsin. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
It's time for the countdown to the election on the Political Power Hour.
Always fun to talk to my friend Kristen Bry. You see her and hear her. I got to say the see part now because we have YouTube and all these fancy new platforms.
I know you're so fancy today. Have you plugged the YouTube?
I don't
watch
think so.
855-616-1620 so you can see Steve in a suit.
I got to go I can't even talk. I got to go to a thing after this. Show up for the. I got to walk to the Journal building, the old Journal Commons area. You know that new.
Yeah, now it's apartments.
Yeah, and there's apparently a meeting space in there. At least at least that's what I was told. So I have to waltz on over there. Not Tim Walz, but me waltz over there at some point after.
Are you excited for the debate tonight? Or are you
not
over
really? This is one of those ones that feels more like a chore.
Really?
Yeah, because I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again today, and we weren't going to talk about this till the end. But it's two people who I don't want either one of these people to ever be president. I don't think they're.
Do you really want either of the people who are running for president to be president?
No. It's like it's a total nonsensical. It's like a cartoon version.
Who do you want if Steve ruled the world?
Nikki Haley was my choice.
Okay.
If Steve ruled the world. Thanks for bringing that back up, by the way. All right, so we both had Dan Schaefer on our show of the recombobulation area. Now works for Civic Media.
Yep.
He used to be on my show. He's still going to be on the show because he's a smart guy, great writer about politics and a lot of other things. So he did one of the most in-depth analyses.
Third time doing it.
Yes, of the state legislature, all the races.
115 races.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, no one does that. And Dan, I talked to him off the show, and he's like, yeah, just grinding on this thing. But he
clearly enjoys it if he's done it 3 times. And what I didn't ask him, I was like, what's the traffic like to this project versus some of the other things you write? Does the payoff there as far as how many people end up seeing it? I didn't ask that question, but it is. It's an unbelievable amount of work that he puts into this, and it's such a great resource. Because one of the things you and I have talked about is the presidential race sucking up so much of the oxygen. So to have journalists looking into the down ballot races in the most competitive year we've had in a decade and a half is good.
Yeah, and I think I don't really want to get into the specific races because there's so many of them. But tomorrow's show, I've given a platform for Dewey Strobel. I've offered to his opponent, Jody Habish-Sidikin. She is also welcome. I may do it back to back. We'll see if she accepts the offer. But I am intrigued by the fact, and I said this in a podcast that'll be launched this week or published this week. I like the fact that competition has returned to our races for a couple of reasons. One, just the fact that I want a legislature that actually engages the other side and stops yelling at each other. Used to be Democrats, then was Republicans after 2010. I'm just sick of that. And it's a place where one size fits all doesn't really fit. It's a waste of our time and, oh, by the way, our money. And I'm still going to harp on this point. There's still a lot of surplus dollars that we put into that government that we call Wisconsin that are still sitting there. So I guess the fascinating thing for me is, and I've said this before, and I know you've talked about this as well, Robin Vos, Assembly Speaker, has been for a while. He's actually concerned that he may not be Speaker because now all of this changes with competitive races.
Well, not only that. So this was fascinating to me. So there was a Daily Cardinal article,
yes,
which is one of the 2 newspapers at UW-Madison. And the headline in the lead is Vos says he's open to finding consensus on abortion at UW-Madison visit. So you think the story, and it is, he talks about...
It starts with
him talking about abortion and how Republicans have messaged abortion and kind of talks on that. But then later, and this was him addressing the college Republicans. But later in it, he talks about for him to stay Speaker, not only do Republicans need to have the majority, but he said they need to have the majority 55 to 44 for him to remain speaker because there's enough people in his own party
that don't like him,
right. that would not vote for him to be speaker again, which I think is fascinating. And I also think it's fascinating that he's admitting that to college Republicans, and that's part of the story.
Robin Vos is a smart politician. Don't ever think he's not. I love this quote from that article. There'll be a couple Republicans who will say Robin Vos is just like Tony Evers, and we can't have them because they're two peas in a pod. That is just amazing to me.
Yes, because they're certainly not. And the fact that there are people who genuinely think that Robin Vos is somehow as liberal as Tony Evers is quite something.
Well, that's the Republican mindset in Wisconsin. Not all of it, of course, but somebody today was saying that most Republicans are just now Democrats light. Are you serious? And first of all, it's a numbers game. If you don't like all of the Republicans that are voting for Republicans, you're never going to win an election if you keep throwing them away. And that's kind of what Republicans have fallen into, that trap. Oh, you're not conservative enough. You're a rhino. You're blah, blah, blah. And you keep losing elections. That's why.
But that happens on the left, too. There's people super far left who are like, oh, our Democratic Party is just a center-right party. It's just that our Republican Party is so far right? And so I think there is extremes on both sides that are very frustrated with the moderate view of the mainstream parties, or like some of the people in the mainstream parties.
Yeah, I love the fact that and this is why I like Robin Vos, he's honest about this stuff. He tells you what he thinks could happen. Will it happen? I don't know. We're going to see what happens in all these races, all these races across the state that now have viable opponents to existing elected officials who have just sort of skated for years.
I just think the fact that we have so few... For years, there's been so many races where there was no opponent.
Yeah.
People ran uncontested, and I think that is a bad thing. I think, as you said, if Dewey Strobel's coming on tomorrow, I didn't realize, Dan Schaefer said, his last two cycles in 2016 and 2020, no one ran against him. This is the first time he actually has to run a campaign, and I think having people work for your vote is a good thing, even if you know that they are the party that you normally vote for, even if you like the person. I think to put the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears and money into a campaign to stay elected is a good thing.
Keep your feet to the fire. These are important decisions we make, and when we have a legislature that's sort of, I don't want to say lazy, but gets really comfortable with significant majorities. Used to be Democrats 10 plus years ago, now it's Republicans. I don't like that. I want them to work hard with each other. I know compromise and bipartisanship are the ugly words that get thrown around in talk radio conversation. I don't give a, you know what? Get the work done. Kristen Bry, Steve, Tuesday edition of Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ.
The Fox exclusive cruise sale with Royal Caribbean is going on now. Daring first and thrilling adventures are as plentiful as elegant moments and stress-melting relaxation when you sail with Royal Caribbean. Fox World Travel offers exclusive cruise prices you won't find with any other local travel agency. Plus, for a limited time, receive free specialty dining on select cruises. Let a Fox World Travel cruise expert save you from the daunting task of choosing from ships, ports, and staterooms. And visit foxworldtravel.com to plan your next cruise.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Adair, A-D-A-I-R. Love talking about Adair. They did my kitchen floor 20 plus years ago. Still looks fantastic. Everybody sees this and goes, wow, that looks like a new floor. No, 20 plus years old. Owner Rob from Adair couldn't believe how good it looked. They came in and redid our basement landing area. It's sort of a wood vinyl plank look. It looks fantastic. We work with their design team. You can too. And it's not just flooring. It's remodeling kitchens, bathrooms as well. You can see all their great samples. Just stop by that great location, South 27th Street in Franklin. Home or business, 65 years in business, family owned and operated. All of those things matter. Stop in, tell them Scaffidi sent you, or visit them online at Adair, A-D-A-I-R, floors.com.
Between market volatility, inflation, global unrest, and the presidential election, there's a lot going on. Take control with help from Annex Wealth Management. Have a plan built that matches up with your investment and retirement goals. Annex does it as a fee-only fiduciary with unbiased advice. Annex offers financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Head to AnnexWealth.com, click the Get Started button. It's time to put things in order. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. AnnexWealth.com.
Vince Vitrano for Absolute Comfort, HVAC and Electrical. And talking with the owner, Nicole. Nicole, when you go with the maintenance plan, like I did, you tell me when it's time for you to come out.
Yes, and you should have already heard from us.
Yes, I got the furnace email.
Great. Our maintenance plan provides you with year-round, worry-free protection. The plan includes AC and furnace maintenance, plus 15% off any parts or service you might need.
Absolute Comfort, HVAC and Electrical, 262-664-9284, yourcomfortguys.com.
It's David Nason, your personal inspection pro from WTMJ's The Fix-It Show. I'm with my go-to basement repair guy, Chris Mancuso of Accurate Basement Repair. This is the team I personally recommend for leaky or cracked basements.
Wow, thanks, David. Our team at Accurate Basement Repair has been fixing leaky and cracked basements for the Fix-It listeners for over 20 years.
That's great, Chris. For more information about how to schedule a free inspection and estimate, check out AccurateBasementRepair.com because they're not just good, they're accurate.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlawns.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're due for service.
Rich Lawns. Losing your independence and moving out of your home. It's one of the greatest fears seniors have. What are your most difficult challenges? Daily chores, transportation, loneliness from the loss of friends and family? Seniors Helping Seniors has been serving Southeast Wisconsin for over a decade, specializing in in-home care, catering to your specific needs. Having someone who also acts as a companion will enhance your mental and emotional health and help keep you where you want to be. In-home care for seniors by seniors. Contact Seniors Helping Seniors Waukesha today.
Hanging out with Kristen Bry. You can hear her and see her in the afternoon along with Brian Noonan on Spanning the State. 1 to 3 right here on 620 WTMJ. So it's sort of the thing that happens when you're trying to do something. This was Democrats, or Republicans rather, a while back in the Walker era where they were trying to make things favorable. They obviously drew the line so that they could have significant majorities, which worked well. And now we see that sort of going out the window, maybe, in this next election. But they also changed some of the rules for fundraising. And I think they thought they would clean up on that area because they have the Diane Hendricks and others who U-Lines, pour a lot of money into Republican campaigns and candidates. But what's happened is the opposite. Democrats are kicking butts when it comes to fundraising, and it's almost like 2-1 in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's and specifically, I think it's been since Ben Wickler took over the Wisconsin Democratic Party that there has been, I think even as recently as 2018 in the first race between Tony Evers and Scott Walker outraised Evers, but then by 2022, it had totally flipped. And as far as what they unleashed as far as how much money the parties can raise and subsequently how much the Democrats continuously outraise in these last, let's say, 5 years. And it's incredible. I mean, even as, and this wasn't one big donor, but last week we talked about the Veep table read that they were organizing, and the numbers are in. And so that was Sunday night. And from that one event, they raised $735,000.
Yeah, significant.
Of small donors just who wanted to watch that table read. And so there's a lot of creativity, too, as far as I think how they raise their money. But it's also a lot of outside money. It's a lot of people who don't live in Wisconsin donating to Wisconsin-specific races.
Sure. And I think that's, part and parcel because people realize in the scope of the national, political environment, Wisconsin really matters. This is a really important state, swing state, so they're going to want to pump that money here. What's interesting to me is when I look at this stuff, it goes to, I just talked to Ben Wickler last week on the podcast. It speaks to what Democrats have really done well at is to organize. Ground game, fundraise, get people involved. Republicans, they like to talk a good game, but when it comes down to getting all those people out there, they have small little clusters of that in the states. But they have not done what
a lot of lawn signs.
Yeah, a lot of lawn signs. They're winning the lawn sign game.
When you get outside of when I drive to Rapids or when we went out to Mississippi River earlier this summer, certainly a lot of Trump van signs.
But remember that signs
don't vote
or farm fields don't vote.
That's true.
Yeah, if you have a farm, there's a few people voting on that farm, but there's not like thousands of people like you have the density in big cities.
Yeah, land doesn't vote. People do.
On the big picture with this, I don't see this changing anytime soon. I think that the reality of American politics, it is It is a shifting landscape, and Democrats will get stronger.
Do you think there will ever be campaign finance reform?
No.
You think it's just cats out of the bag?
Yeah.
Can't put a Pandora's box open?
You're not going to go back. They're never going to go
use.
back. People want to spend money. I don't know why. I never donate to campaigns. I just think it's a foolish waste of money. I see where the money goes. I don't want to waste my money to any of that stuff.
That's kind of how I feel about it. You know, the amount of money that we spend on political campaigns and the fact that it just cycles through media companies, including the media company that we work for. But
sure.
It's just the amount of problems, like actual problems that could be solved with that much money that just gets cycled through. It's hard to stomach sometimes. And the only flip side I can see is I do think the correlation to a certain extent of more and more money spent to voter turnout is a positive correlation. Causation, I don't know.
You think the turnout will be up in this election?
Up since 2020?
Yeah.
I think it'll be similar.
I think it's going to be up.
By like significantly up?
No, tell me what significant
I mean, a couple,
means.
like a million, out of, 80 million votes per, no.
But we talked about it earlier. The significance of all these smaller races, I should say smaller, legislative races, I think increases the interest for people to show up. Now, the bigger question, and I asked some of my guests this yesterday, will we see those ballots where they just vote for that and they say, I'm not voting for president, I don't like any of these people. That might actually be a thing. That's a real possibility that I'm not sure the parties understand how big that could be.
Of just people who abstain entirely?
Yeah.
What about third party? Do you think there would be more people who just don't vote at all or someone who votes for one of the 6 other presidential candidates that are listed on the ballot?
Good luck finding anything about those people. My goodness, this is some weirdos. All right, anyway, we got to wrap up the show. We'll have some fun in the last segment. Kristen Bry, you see her and hear her in the afternoons here on WTMJ, 620 WTMJ, spanning the state, along with Brian Noonan. One more break, one more segment of the Political Power Hour, 620 WTMJ.
Pitch to Willie.
And here it is.
Willie Adames, his 13th home run.
His 24th of the season.
Willie Adames, number 26. Going back is Cade. At the track.
Whoa, go! Number 30 for Willie Adames.
Bye-bye baseball. An exclamation point.
What is it with 3 runs with Willie Adames?
This is the Hunt for Brew October.
What a shot from Adames. Another one.
Sponsored by Delta Dental ER, your home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
He's a machine.
Any exterior remodeling company can give you a lot of good reasons to get a new roof, siding, windows and doors, or masonry work. Aesthetic appeal alone or just resale value help it all make sense. But I'm compelled to continue to tell you what sets Semper Fi apart from the rest. What you're going to get from Semper Fi is a reputation that is backed by an undeniable stack of proof that we are who we say we are. Our character is guided by a level of trust and accountability which not only holds our teams together, but also keeps our reputation intact. And ultimately, that means leaving you satisfied. So when you're about to make that big investment in your home, isn't that what you want? This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi!
Since 1899, Port Washington State Bank has been dedicated to helping small businesses. I'm James Showalter, president of PWSB and a proud resident of Ozaukee County. For over 5 generations, we've been helping businesses in southeastern Wisconsin do more. Our commercial lending team takes the time to listen and provide the care you deserve. We're proud to serve this community, and we'd be proud to serve your business. Stop into Port Washington State Bank today.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Wisconsin families are getting crushed today. We're paying more for food, clothes, gas than ever. Our open border has allowed over 10 million illegal immigrants into our country the last 4 years, driving up the cost of health care and housing for every one of us. What's more, it's allowed fentanyl to pour into our communities, killing our friends and family. Kamala Harris and Senator Baldwin's policies created all these problems. It's time for change. I'm Eric Hovde, and that's why I'm running for the U.S. Senate. For too long, these career politicians have failed our country. They're all talk, no action.
I'm not anything like these people. I'm a business guy who lives in a world where actually solving problems matters. We need to lower the cost of food, close our southern border, build more affordable housing, and fix our healthcare system. I'm Eric Hovde, candidate for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message because it's time for change.
Paid for by Hovde for Wisconsin.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, we got a little listener survey thing going on. It's a good time to have Kristen in here because there's like a little friendly competition between the afternoon show.
Expand spanning.
Yeah, more spanning. Super span.
There's more hashtag more Steve, hashtag expand spanning.
Yeah, and the more Steve thing is, I've got a bunch of texts to say, but thanks for the more Steve comments. Here's the details. Text the word survey, SURVEY, for those who can't spell, to WTMJ Talking Text line 855-616-1620. We'll send you the link back. The people that I've talked to that have done it, they said it's easy. As a thank you, you get a chance to win a package for Bucks regular season tickets for this year. And this is the coolest thing, the overnight stay at the Pfister, which is an awesome hotel. You ever stayed there?
I did. That's where we stayed the night of our wedding.
Oh, that's cool.
We didn't get the bridal suite, but we got a suite. And
yeah,
it was
I love
beautiful.
that hotel. And everything about it is cool. They have an annex office in there. I even love going to
Do they really?
In the downstairs by the lobby. I love going to that office. All right, so a couple things. We got to debate tonight. What are you looking for, Kristen Bry?
Entertainment.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is, right?
I mean, I think that's largely what it is. It's two big personalities. I certainly think it's going to, Pence was not a big personality. And so, but I think we have two very different people who come across very differently. I think it'll just be interesting to see what their dynamic. I think there'll be a lot of bickering, especially if they're going to have hot mics. And I think the memes, as they typically are, will be great. And so the internet will be another night that you'll have to put yourself to bed because the internet will be if there'll be a lot of jokes. It'll be fun.
I'll stay up late.
It's nights like this that the internet is at its best.
Yeah, so who's the better debater? I mean, if it actually is a debate, which it isn't. Is Walz better because he's a little more? He's like the seasoned politician. JD Vance is sort of a
what
noob.
do you mean? But what makes a great
A
debater?
better talker in this environment? Going after your opponent or making the case. I would think Walz as a governor has made a million speeches. I'm sure he can talk his way through this. JD Vance still pretty new to the game, right? New senator from Ohio.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. But I also think some people think that I heard James earlier today say that he doesn't think JD Vance has done a great job. I think he's combative, whether or not you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I do think he's not. I don't think he's totally dropping the ball. I kind of think he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
He's following orders.
Yeah.
Which is what you do when you work for Trump or the Trump campaign. Thanks to all the folks for doing the survey. Appreciate that. More Steve, or what was your hashtag?
Expand spanning.
Expand.
Although I don't need more time. I like our 2-hour show.
Yeah. Look at that. 2 hours for the afternoon. Is that because you have two people, 2 hours?
Probably.
Is that how it works? We're ratioing by number of hosts? Interesting. I have to think about that one. Kristen Bry, I will see you on Friday.
Yes.
Probably before that because we both work
for the Political Power half hour.
Yes, which I love to do. And I'm also doing some things on The Truth in the afternoon with Dr. Ken. All right, so I got to hand it off. Jeff Sherman, Upswing, little thing he has called the Upswing. Before that, the news on 620 WTMJ. I'm out of here.
Hi, I'm Dewey Strobel. When I learned that 1 in 7 Wisconsinites struggle with literacy and that only 13% of elementary students at our state's largest school district read at grade level, I knew we had to do something. Reading is the #1 building block for learning, and our kids were falling behind. So I introduced and passed a bipartisan literacy bill to develop a proven phonics-based curriculum and give schools the resources they need to implement it. Teaching our kids to read isn't partisan. I worked with elected officials from both sides of the aisle to get this bill signed into law by Governor Evers. Because to keep